So there we have it. The news has been announced today that Dwayne Peel will not be taking up his role with the Cardiff Blues next season. He will indeed be heading west, down to the Scarlets, where he will become the head coach. In this video, we're going to look at the timeline of events that occurred from the moment that Dwayne Peel signed on that dotted line all those months ago. And where are we now, and how did we get to this stage where Dwayne Peel is now the head coach of the Scarlets? Let's get into it. We're going to go all the way back to the 8th of December of 2020. An announcement was made that Dwayne Peel would become the new attack coach down at the Cardiff Blues, leaving his current role with Ulster Rugby and taking up the role with the Blues starting in the 2021-22 season. As a Blues fan at the time and as a Welsh fan, this was an extremely exciting opportunity for the region to bring in a coach with the experience that Dwayne Peel has from his time at both Bristol and at Ulster. With the players that the Blues had in that back line and the talent that's coming through in the academy, this was something that surely Dwayne Peel was excited to get his hands on and to start putting his own stamp on. The difficulty that we've had with COVID obviously would have played a part, but the Blues were building towards a brighter and better future, and Dwayne Peel was definitely going to become a part of that. However, just under a month later, on the 5th of January in 2021, the announcement was made that John Mulvihill would depart the Cardiff Blues with immediate effect 6 months before the end of his contract was due to run out. This raised the first question that was Dwayne Peel ever coming over as just an attack coach, or was John Mulvihill bringing him on board ready so that he could take up that role? Due to the fact that the Blues didn't then have a head coach or a director of rugby, it fell on the shoulders of Richard Hodges to lead the boys through the games around the Christmas period and around New Year. Dwayne Peel was obviously the man that we thought would take over as head coach, but in the short term, he wasn't going to be the man. So they had to look at an interim director of rugby. The interim director of rugby was named as Dai Young. Who else? The man that led the Blues through their most successful period in recent times, took them to a European semi-final, won the Amlin Challenge Cup, and also the EDF Anglo-Welsh Cup. An exciting return for Dai Young to his home region where it all started for him as a coach. This was something that we were really, really excited about. But the only thing that was a doubt was, where did Dwayne Peel fit into Dai Young's plans? Would he still resume the role as attack coach, or would he look to get more out of his role down at the Cardiff Blues? With that being said, this was when the speculation started. It was reported that the Scarlets were interested in Dwayne Peel and they were looking to offer him a more lucrative deal that would lure him away from the Cardiff Blues. There were various reports around at the time saying that this was sabotage, that they were trying to hijack the deal, but ultimately, the Scarlets were looking to get their hands on Dwayne Peel in whatever means necessary. But the interesting character that we need to take into consideration here is Glenn Delaney, who is currently head coach down at the Scarlets. Now, when he was questioned on the speculation and asked whether this was true or not, he tried to play it down to his best abilities, saying that when a past player of such a high standard as Dwayne Peel looks to come back to the region, it's always going to cause excitement with the fans. And with COVID and everything that's going on, it gave the fans something to be excited about. But he did stipulate, and he made it very clear, that he would not be stepping aside or moving to a different role to allow Dwayne Peel to become head coach. And surely, that would be the only thing that would lure Dwayne Peel away from that Cardiff Blues role, is that if he would be offered a job with more responsibility and obviously more money. Within recent weeks, we've seen that Dai Young has signed as the permanent director of rugby down at the Cardiff Blues, with signing a long-term deal. Now, this led to believe that this was really going to be the end of Dwayne Peel's signing for the Cardiff Blues. It seems that there was something that Dai Young wanted from Dwayne Peel that he wasn't happy to deliver. And if we look at all the speculation that's gone around it, it really seemed that this was already a done deal, that Dwayne Peel would be choosing the role at the Scarlets. But the question we were all asking is, what role would he take up? So as I'm making this video today on the 19th of April 2021, the announcement has been made that Dwayne Peel will not be joining the Cardiff Blues and is going to become the head coach down at the Scarlets, a role that he's really excited to take up And I've got to say, even as a Blues fan, I am extremely pleased for him. If you're looking at a young man like him with the coaching credentials that he has, the only obvious progression for him would be to take up a head coach role. We've got to agree that at the moment, the Scarlets are in a really sticky situation, dumped out of Europe by Sale in a way that we've never seen the Scarlets beaten before. A lot of things going on, that there are confusion between the players, whether they're calling international calls or whether they're calling club calls. This is something the Scarlets fans, I'm sure, are extremely worried. And this is something that I'm sure that Dwayne Peel will try to eradicate as soon as he takes up his role next season. But what's going to happen to Glenn Delaney? Well, it has also been reported today that Glenn Delaney will be accepting a role as the director of rugby down at the Scarlets. Interesting, considering that he said that he wouldn't consider a role as the director of rugby at the Scarlets. So you've got to wonder what's being said there, how much money is being exchanged between hands at an extremely difficult time where clubs are finding it very difficult to manage financially. But there is consolation for the Cardiff Blues. Matt Sherratt, former attack coach, has returned to the Cardiff region that will become Cardiff Rugby as of next season. I'm sure that Blues fans of old will remember the attack that Matt Sherratt put together, especially in that run towards the Challenge Cup victory a few years ago. But this does still leave a lot of question marks around the deal. The Blues have been extremely quiet on the Dwayne Peel front, although they're reporting their own positive news that, of course, Dai Young is staying. Recent news that Jared Evans has signed on the dotted line for a long-term deal, and also the return of Matt Sherratt. So the Blues have been extremely quiet on this front, even around the speculatory period where everybody was saying that Dwayne Peel was joining up with the Scarlets. Dai Young was still expectant that Dwayne Peel would take up his role that they had offered him at the Cardiff Blues, where he had penned that 3-year deal. He has walked away from that and he has signed the contract. And it seemed that from the announcement earlier on, the Blues have released Dwayne Peel of his contract. That's got to have financial implications, because simply for the Blues to have put that much money aside to lure Dwayne Peel down to Cardiff, there must be something that they want in return. Whether that comes in the form of players, whether that comes in the form of financial reward, considering we're in the tough situation we are with COVID and money being so tight down at the Welsh regions, we really don't know how this situation will be resolved. But of course, that is just my opinion. And I have to say a massive congratulations to Dwayne Peel. And I wish him all the best of luck with his new role down at the Scarlets. Likewise, with Glenn Delaney, hopefully the transition to director of rugby is a smooth and successful one. And to my club, my team, the Blues, Matt Sherratt, welcome back. And I hope that your successes at the club are that of a few seasons ago when you were with us last. So that wraps it up for this video, guys. As I mentioned, these are all my opinions, and I've used as much information as I can from press that has been released on this today. As always, get your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to see what your thoughts on this move are. Are you happy for Dwayne Peel? Do you feel that the Blues have been a little bit hard done by? Or do you think it's just an overall good move for Welsh rugby, considering the dark situation we're in at the moment? Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.